Stinging nettle is a powerfully healing herb, and stinging nettle tea has so many benefits. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can work with stinging nettle specifically for allergies. Hello, I'm Rosalee de la Forêt, herbalist, teacher, and best-selling herbal author. I created this herbal YouTube channel to share trusted herbal knowledge so that you can get the best results when using herbs for your health. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video to get my recipe for stinging nettle tea for allergies, as well as additional resources for dealing with seasonal allergies naturally. And while you're watching, let me know in the comments below about your experience in drinking nettle tea and working with nettles for allergies. It's always interesting and insightful to hear the experiences of plant lovers out there, and your suggestion may also help others. Okay, let's dive in. Nettles are often found growing in damp, nutrient-rich soils in temperate climates. Most species are perennial, and they often grow in patches or clumps. True to their name, they sting. If you casually brush against the leaves or stems, these hollow-like needle projections inject a slightly irritating substance into your skin. This is usually a minor irritation and can actually be therapeutic. Some people with arthritis find that after that initial sting, they experience less pain and inflammation in that area. In this video, I'm going to focus on how stinging nettle tea benefits someone with seasonal allergies. But nettle has so many gifts, as a healing food to powerful herbal medicine that goes beyond allergies. You can read more about stinging nettle in both of my books, Alchemy of Herbs, Transform Everyday Ingredients into Foods and Remedies That Heal, and Wild Remedies, How to Forage Healing Foods and Craft Your Own Herbal Medicine. Nettle is commonly used to decrease seasonal allergic responses, such as hay fever. While the exact mechanism of how this works isn't known, some hypothesize that nettle's natural histamine content may downregulate the allergic response. An in vitro study in 2009 concluded that nettle affects key receptors and enzymes associated with allergic rhinitis. Nettle has also been shown to decrease inflammatory markers such as C-reactive protein, which could also play a role in relieving seasonal allergies. In addition, the astringent and drying action of nettle may contribute to reducing a runny nose and overly watery eyes. I've often recommended nettle for people with seasonal allergies, but I've found that the preparation used, the dosage, and duration are all really important to consider for getting the best results. In other words, when working with nettle, it's not as simple as popping back a few pills, but the upside is that the results are often more healing in the long term. My first recommendation is to drink strong, stinging nettle teas, sometimes called nourishing infusions, daily in the months leading up to allergy season. I know that drinking a tea every day for months may sound extreme, but this practice often eliminates or strongly decreases allergy symptoms. And in my opinion, it's way better to avoid getting allergies in the first place rather than having to constantly address the symptoms. Here's how to make this special tea. You're gonna weigh out 1 ounce or 28 grams of dried nettle leaf by weight using a kitchen scale. I like to add a pinch of dried peppermint leaves to this for flavor. Place the herbs in a quart or liter-sized glass jar. Fill the jar with just boiled water. Stir well. Cover and let this steep for 4 to 8 hours. Once it's done steeping, you can strain off the leaves, which can then be composted. If you aren't going to drink it immediately after straining, then put it in the refrigerator, and that'll help to preserve it. I recommend drinking this tea within 24 to 36 hours. As you can see, the color of this tea is going to be very dark, either a dark or greenish brown color, depending on your nettles. This is totally normal. It means that you've really extracted all the healing goodies from the nettle leaves into your drink. So think of this as your nutrient-dense green drink. Yum! Okay, if you take your first sip of stinging nettle tea and you are not immediately swooning over its flavor, you aren't alone. I have a couple recommendations to help. First is that while many people don't immediately love the flavor of the tea, many come to love it. It does have a strong grassy or green taste, but that taste isn't overly bitter. I think people come to love it because their bodies know all the goodness that they're getting with each sip. I've heard from countless people that they didn't like this tea at first, but they later came to crave it. As mentioned, the additional peppermint can give this tea an improved taste. You can also try other herbs to improve the flavor. Ginger is another favorite you can use. I personally think this tea tastes best when cold, but you could try it warm or cold and see what you prefer. My next suggestion for improving the taste may sound a bit odd, but hear me out. Sometimes people want to add honey or sugar to make the taste better, but sweetness isn't a great flavor combination with nettle for most people. Instead, try adding a small pinch of salt. If you've tried all these things but you still don't like the flavor, you can make the preparation using half as much stinging nettle. Then, as you get used to the flavor, you can increase the amount you use. Or you can dilute the tea with additional water so that it has less flavor. I really want to stress that you're going to get the best results with this preparation when you drink it daily for a couple of months before seasonal allergies start. Drinking nettle tea has so many benefits beyond helping to decrease allergy symptoms. People often report that they have higher energy levels and that their skin and hair become radiant after drinking nettle for a while. Nettle is one of those herbs that you may work with for one particular reason, but in the end, it ends up benefiting you in many other areas as well. Okay, I know you may have a few questions after hearing about this tea. You might be wondering why you can't just make a tea with a teaspoon of nettle leaves and then steeped for say 5 minutes. And you might also be thinking, but I have allergies right now. What can I do to help relieve my symptoms now? Well, I'll get to both of those questions. So first, why this super strong tea recipe? Why can't we just use a small amount of tea and then steep it for a couple minutes? Stinging nettle is rich in many nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. These aren't extracted with a short steeping time. You really need that long extraction to pull out the nutrients. You can experience the difference between a nettle tea and a strong infusion by making both and then comparing them. The simple tea will have a light color and will be lightly flavored. The strong tea will be considerably darker and have a more robust taste. If you want the most benefits from stinging nettle tea, then you'll want to make the strong infusion. The simple tea is like stinging nettles light. You just aren't going to get that much out of it. The other part of this is how much you use. When I first tell students how much nettle to use, which as a reminder is 1 ounce or 28 grams, or less precisely about 2 large handfuls, those students are pretty amazed. They often wonder, do you really need all that nettle? You can think of it like this. Would you eat 1 bite of a carrot and then call it good? Of course not. We eat a serving of carrots. Same goes for nettles. They are a food-like, nutrient-dense plant, and we need more than a teaspoon to get all of those nutrients. So again, I encourage you to experience making a simple nettle tea versus making a strong infusion like I've instructed. You'll instantly know the difference between the two. Okay, next question I want to answer before sharing some additional allergy resources is about working with nettle for acute allergy symptoms. What I mean by that is how to work with nettles if you have allergies right now and you don't have the luxury of drinking stinging nettle tea for the months leading up to allergy season. Stinging nettle can help with acute allergy symptoms, but the preparations you use is very important. To be upfront, stinging nettle tea is not your best choice for acute symptoms. Yes, it may help a bit, but there are 2 other herbal preparations that will most likely give you better results. The first is to use freeze-dried stinging nettle. You can buy this as a powder or in capsules. This is a specially prepared nettle product and not something you can make at home. The amount of freeze-dried nettle that you take is individual to you. So you would start with a little, say 1 gram or a teaspoon of the powder, and then gradually increase until you find relief. Anywhere from 1 to 15 grams is common. Another preparation that can work well for acute allergy relief is fresh nettle tincture. It's important that this is made with fresh nettle, and it should say that on the bottle specifically. Again, the amount you take to find relief is individual to you. I recommend starting at 15 drops every hour and then increasing as many as 60 drops every hour during acute stages. Stinging nettle can help a lot of people with seasonal allergies, but I'm gonna be real with you, it doesn't help everyone. I love herbal medicines and I love nettles, but they're not a miracle cure that works 100% of the time. And that's the way it is with herbal medicine. It's most important to find the herb that works for you rather than the one herb that works for everyone. The truth is, there's no one herb that works 100% of the time for everyone. And if someone tells you that, beware, because they're probably just trying to sell you something. The tips I've given you in this video will give you the best starting place to see if nettle is the herb for you. So many people want to turn to nettles for allergy relief, but they don't know how to make the right preparation or the right dosage, and they end up not getting the results. With this information in hand, you are set to succeed. And while nettles are great for seasonal allergies, they aren't the only natural option available. If you'd like more tips for natural seasonal allergy relief, visit the link in the video description to head over to my site where I've collected additional resources for you. You can also download a recipe card for the strong nettle tea that I shared earlier. If you enjoyed this video on stinging nettle tea for allergies and you value trusted information, then I hope you'll stick around. The best way to get started is to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be the first to get my best herbal insights and recipes.